Now, Canada's Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, has called for an independent inquiry after the emergence of a video showing police punching and applying a chokehold on an Indigenous chief in Alberta province. The footage, which shows Athabasca Chipewyan First Nation chief Alan Adam being floored and repeatedly punched, has turned a spotlight on systemic racism in the country's police force. Mr. Trudeau said everyone knew the incident earlier this month wasn't isolated and that far too many Black Canadians and Indigenous people felt unsafe around police. Well, joining me live from her home in Edmonton, Alberta, is the Regional Chief of Assembly of First Nations, Marlene Poitras. Thank you for joining us here on BBC News. First off, many people will be shocked to know that Canada has this problem. Just how widespread, how bad an issue is it?
Well, we've had a long history of injustices in First Nations in Canada. Systemic racism is embedded into systems of law, justice, education, health, and social programs that need to be addressed immediately.
When you say addressed immediately, what can be done?
Well, there needs to be a reform of everything. The systemic racism has to be eliminated from all the systems that exist, including the RCMP and all the laws and legislation that impact First Nations in Canada. We have treaties. We have historic treaties with the British Crown that were signed in Canada, and those are embedded into the Canadian Constitution. But the government has never honored those, so we need to come together and start having discussions in terms of how we can live together in peaceful coexistence.
Just to remind our viewers, when you say the RCMP, it's the Royal Canadian Mounted Police we're talking about here. Brenda Lucki, who is part of the police body, she's the commissioner, initially said that the police officers' actions were reasonable, but very quickly backtracked. What did you make of that?
Well, I think that was, because of all the media, surrounding the issue of Chief Alan Adam and all the injustices that have happened. Since COVID, since April, we've had 9 deaths from the hands of police in this country of Indigenous people. And that has to stop. The RCMP, Brenda Lucki, and everybody else that's involved needs to recognize that this is a systemic issue and we need to deal with it, but we need our leaders and our people at the table to have those discussions and to finally get some reform in this country.
Is there political consensus on this subject?
Pardon me?
Is there political consensus on the issue?
Yeah. Yes.
So Justin Trudeau has announced that there is going to be an investigation, hoping for answers. How confident are you that you are going to get answers and you are going to get change? Well,
we've called for an independent investigation, and the people that do the investigations are former members of the police and the investigators. So we need an independent investigation that would be non-biased and includes members of the First Nations community here in Canada.
Okay, we're going to leave it there for now. But Marlene Poitras, thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.